बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलामुअलैकुम व्यूअर्स, मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब खैरियत से होंगे। मैं आपका इंस्ट्रक्टर शहबाज अली और मैं आपको वेलकम करता हूँ आपके अपने चैनल डिजिटल एजुकेशन पर। आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे फर्स्ट ईयर केमिस्ट्री मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस। आज की वीडियो में मैं आप तमाम प्यारे स्टूडेंट्स के साथ चैप्टर वाइज इम्पोर्टेंट शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन शेयर करने जा रहा हूँ, तो वीडियो को लास्ट तक देखिएगा और बिल्कुल भी स्किप मत कीजिएगा। इसके साथ साथ हमेशा की तरह आप तमाम व्यूअर्स से दरख्वास्त है कि अगर आप मेरे चैनल पर नए हैं और आपने अभी तक मेरा चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया तो क्या कर रहे हैं, जल्दी से चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन को प्रेस करें। आप भी मेरे साथ साथ अपनी बुक पर निशान लगाते जाएं ताकि आपको ये याद रहें और कोई भी आपसे क्वेश्चन जो है वो मिस ना हो। आइए शुरू करते हैं हमारी आज की वीडियो। आज मैं आपके साथ मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट रिपीटेड 113 शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन शेयर करने जा रहा हूं, जो मैं चैप्टर वाइज आपसे शेयर करूंगा। चैप्टर नंबर 1, हाउ N2 and CO have same number of electrons, no individual neon atom in the sample of the element have a mass of the 20.18 AMU justify. Atomic masses are in fractions justify. How limiting reactant controls the amount of product formed. Why actual yield is always lesser than the theoretical yield. Law of conservation of mass has to be obeyed during stoichiometric calculation. Explain. 1 mole of H2SO4 should completely react with 2 moles of NaOH. How does Avogadro's number help us to explain it? What are molecular ions, how they formed, give their application, how the efficiency of a chemical reaction is determined. Chapter number 2, why NaCl cannot be purified by crystallization, how colored impurities are removed from crystals during crystallization, give uses of chromatography, differentiate between absorption and partial chromatography, define sublimation with an example. Repeated extractions using small portion of solvent are more efficient than using a single extraction. Why? Chapter number 3, gases behave ideally at low pressure and high temperature. Explain. Calculate the value of R SL unit. Water vapors do not behave at 273 Kelvin. Why? What is the significance of when dot walls constants differentiate between diffusions and effusion? Do you think that some of the postulates of the kinetic molecular theory are faulty? Point out these postulates. Differentiate between natural and artificial plasma. How plasma is formed. Explain the application of Dalton's laws in respirations. Chapter number 4. There is a big difference in the physical state of the halogens as we move from fluorine to iodine. Food is cooked quickly in pressure cooker. Why? Why one feels sense of cooling under the fans after bath? Boiling needs a constant supply of heat. Explain. Diamond is hard and electrical insulator. Explain. Why graphite is conductor parallel to its layer, not the perpendicular. Cleavage itself is an isotropic property. How? Why ionic crystals are highly brittle. Chapter number 5. Why positive rays are also called canal rays. How do you come to know that velocities of electron in orbit closer to the nucleus are higher than those in higher orbit? Differentiate between atomic emissions and atomic absorption spectrum. What is Riemann effect? What is Stark effect? Why the EM value of cathode rays is just equal to the electrons? Differentiate between atomic emissions and atomic absorption spectrum. Differentiate between continuous spectrum and line spectrum. Justify that distance gaps between different orbits go on increasing from the lower to the higher orbit. Write two properties of neutrons. Chapter number 6, bond distance is the compromise distance between two atoms. Justify why the second ionization energy is always greater than the first ionization energy. No bond in chemistry is 100% ionic. Why the energy of bounding molecular orbits is lesser than anti-bounding molecular orbits. Ionic bonds are non-directional. Justify. Define dipole movement. What is the limitation of the VSEPR theory? The ionization energy of the group second A is higher than the group third A. Why? Why the oxygen is paramagnetic in nature? Sigma bond is stronger than pi bond. Explain. Pi bonds are more diffused than the sigma bonds. Explain. Define dipole moment. Chapter number 7. Explain that burnings of the candle is spontaneous process. State first law of thermodynamics. Volume is a state function. Justify. Define enthalpy of solution. Differentiate between spontaneous and non-spontaneous reaction. State Born-Haber cycle. Chapter number 8. The solubility of glucose in water is increased by increasing temperature. Explain how the direction of reaction is predicted by the equilibrium constant. Define pH and pOH. What is ionic product of water? Solubilities are depressed by the addition of common ions. What is solubility product? What is solubility product expression for PbCl2? Define buffer capacity. High pressure favors the reaction in which there is decrease in volume. Reactants to product. What are acidic buffers? Give an example. Define parts per millions. The sum of mole fractions of all components is unity. Justify why the vapor pressure of solution is lesser than that of the pure solvent. State Rolle's law. NaCl and KCl are used to lower the melting point of ice. Justify. Molality is independent of temperature, but molarity depends on temperature. Why? What are the zeotropies? Give example. Define colligative properties. Name any two colligative properties. Beckmann's thermometer is used to note the depressions in freezing point. Why? Chapter number 10. What is the function of the salt bride in the voltaic cell? How sodium metal is prepared by Down cell? How impure copper can be purified by electrolysis? A salt bridge maintains the electrical neutrality. Explain what is the function of salt bridge in voltaic cell. How electrochemical series can help us to determine whether a reaction is feasible or not. Na and K are displaced hydrogen from acids, but Pp, Pd and Cu cannot. Why? Lead's accumulators is rechargeable. Justify. Write down the reaction happening in fuel cell. Write down the advantages of the fuel cell over the other batteries. Chapter number 11. Define reactions kinetics. Rate of a reaction in an ever changing parameter. Justify. The radioactive decay is always first order reaction. Justify. Photochemical reaction are usually zero order reaction. Justify. How half-life of a chemical reaction is related with a initial concentration of the reactant. How order is determined by the method of large excess. How surface area affect the rate of chemical reaction. Give one example. How rate is affected by light. Differentiate between homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis. A catalyst does not affect the equilibrium constants. Justify. A catalyst is specific in nature. Justify. Define catalytics. Poisoning. What is negative catalyst? Give example. What is auto catalyst? Give example. Give two characteristics of enzyme catalysis. तो स्टूडेंट्स ये थी हमारी आज की वीडियो जिसमें मैंने आप तमाम प्यारे स्टूडेंट्स के साथ शेयर किए चैप्टर वाइज मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस आपके पेपर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से। मेरे सजेशंस ये है कि इन तमाम शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस को अच्छे से कीजिएगा और इसमें से बिल्कुल भी स्किप मत कीजिएगा। तो अपनी वीडियो का इख्तिताम करते हैं इस उम्मीद के साथ कि हमेशा की तरह मेरी आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद आई होगी और इस वीडियो से आपकी हेल्प हुई होगी। अगर आपको मेरी आज की वीडियो पसंद आई है और इस वीडियो से आपकी हेल्प हुई है तो वीडियो को लाइक करें, अपने तमाम फ्रेंड्स के साथ इसको शेयर करें। मुझे अपनी दुआओं में याद रखिएगा। मेरी अगली वीडियो तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज, टेक केयर।